I'd like to call the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners regular meeting to order for September 25, 2019. Roll call.
President Zipfel.
Here.
Vice President Hughes.
Here.
Commissioner Andrus.
Here.
Commissioner Rogers.
Here.
Commissioner Thomas.
Here.
I would like to ask Brian McAdam to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Before we begin, there's a sad note for this evening. I'd like, if in a moment we'll stand, but I'd like a moment of silence on behalf of Forrest Kerr. Sadly, we lost Forrest, who has been a fixture of our community for many, many years. Forrest actually worked here as a young man in our Public Works Department. He was a frequent attendee of our board meetings for decades. He was undoubtedly one of the kindest people that you will ever meet, a true gentleman, and certainly our township is lesser for having for lost him, and he will be greatly missed. His family, Dan, is a good friend to our community as well. That's his son, and Dan shared a moment of levity that his dad always liked to joke around about when he worked in the Township Public Works Department. Apparently, many years ago when Forrest worked here as a young man in high school and then in college, he joked, and then after, he joked around a story working with Tom Smith on a crew, and who was incidentally the same person who owned a farmhouse where they lived in the 40s and 50s. And Forrest was told by Tom to back a dump truck up that was loaded with hot blacktop that they were using to patch holes. And his dad accidentally dumped the entire load of blacktop, and Tom Smith was so furious at him that he chased him with a shovel and made Forrest shovel the entire thing back in the truck all by himself. And so I'm sure that at the moment it was probably not the funniest joke or funniest moment that anyone remembered, but many years later, 30, 40 years later or more, it was one of his favorite stories to tell about how he worked here as a township employee. And I can't reiterate enough, a true gentleman, undoubtedly, and a great loss for our township. So with that, I'll ask if everyone would stand and pause in Forrest's honor. Thank you. Forrest would want us to jump right into the meeting, so we will do exactly that. Is there a motion for approval of tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Andrus, second by Commissioner Rogers. All in favor of approving tonight's agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we can move forward with the agenda before you. Consent items. Is there a motion to move the consent items into the record? Motion by Commissioner Thomas.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rogers. Those consent items include a Board of Commissioners regular meeting minutes for August 28, the Board of Commissioners workshop meeting minutes for September 11, the Treasurer's report for the month of September, and the bills payable, paid bills in the amount of $14,346.40, and unpaid bills in the amount of $631,899.13. With that, I will call the question. All in favor of moving those into the record, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, those are moved into the record. Citizens' comments. Are there any citizens' comments on agenda items? Okay. Not seeing anyone, we're going to move on. We have 3 special items tonight. One has been shortened a little bit. Our township manager will take care of that. But the first one is a recognition of the North Penn Health, Hospital, and Education Authority, the Hatfield PBA, and the Delaware Valley Health Trust for funding the employee fitness facility renovation. And as you can see on the agenda, it says that no tax money was spent. So let me make a couple of remarks about this. The commissioners want to recognize the people we just mentioned, which includes North Penn Health, Hospital, and Education Authority, for their very generous donation to help renovate the township employee fitness facility. Those board members are Neil Brady, Jeff Fish, John Leahy, and Dina Sana. These Hatfield residents are volunteers who oversee a board which helps provide low-interest, tax-free financing to local nonprofits and businesses to help expand or renovate its facilities. The fee generated from these transactions is then reinvested back into the township. And this board has donated $15,000 for the Employee Fitness Center and $35,000 to help complete the Fricks Trail. We're grateful for their support, and we want to make sure that they're recognized tonight. Thank you for that. There are more people to thank for the same location, same facility. Also here tonight are members of the Hatfield PBA, the Police Benevolent Association. The PBA has also contributed a significant amount of funds to upgrade the fitness facility, and the board wants to recognize Officer Butler and the entire PBA for making this contribution. The Hatfield PBA supports many causes, including the Chapman Scholarships, which were recognized in July, the Junior Police Academy, charity bike races, and much, much more. Thank you to Officer Dan Butler, the entire PBA, for helping keep our employees healthy, and for all of the members of the PBA that are here with us tonight for your support, not just tonight, but for this entire facility. Thank you for that. So a third contributor, just to show, thankfully, that we have people who would like to contribute to our township, which is great. We also received a $6,000 wellness grant from the Delaware Valley Insurance Trust for the cardio equipment. So you might be asking yourself, those of you who are here probably aren't, but those who are watching or some who are here might be asking, why is this so important? So here's a few reasons. I was shocked when I learned this, and I'm happy to see that we're working, we have some contribution towards changing this statistic. The average life expectancy of a police officer in America is 59 years old, compared to roughly 80 years old for non-police officers. And for the officers in the back who didn't know that, they're all looking at each other thinking, wow, I did not realize that. We want to see that the Hatfield Police have a long, healthy life and enjoy their well-earned retirement and stay active in the community. And of course, by using this facility here on site, they will be able to enjoy that. Hatfield is consistently recognized by the Insurance Trust for being among the lowest, if not the lowest, in workers' compensation claims among the roughly 100 towns in the Workers' Comp Trust. This is a direct result of investing in the health of the employees and caring about workplace safety. This creates lower premium rates for insurance coverage, which saves taxpayer dollars, and more importantly, as I just said, it keeps our police officers safe and healthy. The Public Works employees also have a very difficult tasking job. They need to obviously stay stronger and healthier, or the stronger and healthier they are, the better they'll perform their jobs while reducing injuries as well. So we're thrilled that this will be available to them. And studies just generally show that healthy and active employees have lower health insurance costs and are much more productive. So thanks again to all of the contributors, to the North Penn Health Hospital and Education Authority, and all of the members that are here tonight. Thank you for that. The Hatfield PBA, and also the Delaware Valley Insurance Trust. So on behalf of all of you, we can't thank you enough. This is going to last a very long time, and it's going to touch the lives of not only the existing police officers, Public Works members, and others, but those to come in the future. So thank you.
Commissioners, the township does have some gifts for the authority members, which I'll give out. Just one fun fact of one of the authority members, Dino Santa. He's also a professional wrestling manager. Dino was hoping to have maybe a cage match tonight versus Chief, possibly in this room, but we're working with Dino to maybe bring one of the events to School Road Park over the years. But let me give a gift to the board members. We don't necessarily have anything for all the police that came, but we'll work on that, I promise.
Why don't we bring you up? Everybody up.
Yeah, you and the chief.
Everybody can come over. Everybody come over. We'll get a nice photo with everybody. Actually, we'll go right here.
Woodford, the Cobra Clutch. Wrestling move. Harry, for a leg lock.
Let's go push some weight around.
Pick your for a leg lock.
What's that? You and I can go push some weight around.
I tell you guys, looks like a lineup.
Right?
Yes, I know.
Thank you.
Am I right? Am I right in saying the chief is not permitted to be down there and to work out? He's restricted? He's got to do it alone,
Don't want him to
because he
get
uses
hurt,
so much
you know.
weights.
We don't have enough weight.
There's not enough weights. It's only good enough for him.
Definitely not.
Had to go off site.
Spotter.
All right, we have another special item, and that is a zoning change request to public hearing, ordinance number 688, regarding Bergey's Realty and 3190 Treewig Town Road. Is there a motion to open the
Mr.
public hearing?
President, let me just take this and mark the exhibits before we proceed.
Oh, sure. Do we need a motion to open the public hearing first?
No.
Okay.
At this time, I will suspend the public meeting, proceed into the public hearing, and mark the following exhibits. B1 will be the ordinance, B2 will be the legal notice, B3 will be the proof of publication, B4 will be the letter to the law library, B5 will be the affidavit of posting. At this time, I will move them into the record. This ordinance rezones the subject property from LI to commercial. I'm going to turn it over to Ken to kind of give the background, the history, then we'll take questions from the board and to the public. Ken?
Yes, thank you. The request we have is to rezone a piece of property that fronts on Treewig Town Road. It contains approximately 2 acres of land, and it's currently zoned light industrial. The Bergey's Realty Group has purchased 2 other properties that front on Bethlehem Pike, and the intent was to join this piece with those 2 parcels, which would eventually be used for some purpose by the Bergey's Realty Company. In order to make all of that work, all 3 properties need to be zoned commercial, and currently 2 of them are, but 1 is not, and that's the subject of the hearing this evening. The application was presented to the Township Planning Commission, and there was a recommendation in August. There was also a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Committee to move forward with the rezoning. At this point, all the notices have gone out to adjoining property owners. The property has been posted, and all of the advertising's been accomplished. So it's really ready for the board to hear the presentation from Mr. Garrity, who's representing the Bergeys, and consider whether or not you'd like to vote.
Any questions from the board at this time? Any questions from the public? Seeing none. Jim, do you want to come up and say a few words about the project?
I have a handheld if you prefer.
Members of the board, Bergey's Realty has under agreement, and if I can just use my little pointer here, property, both of which are zoned C commercial. That side of as you can see follows property lines. On the other side of the street, that isn't true, so all bisected by the zoning. Yes, and pretty much follows property lines. We thought this property was an excellent investment for the company because it not only makes this property deeper, but it also provides us with access to Treewood Town Road, which if we go a little further in the development process and find out that left turns are difficult on Route 309, this will provide us a way to make an easier turn out onto Treewood Town and come down to a light for left-hand turns. So in all respects, it makes sense. We'll be able to connect these properties in the land development process, and we think it's a really good idea, and it doesn't go beyond too deep into the C commercial because this entire property is C commercial. So if you go in a straight line along 309 or Bethlehem Pike, it's pretty much the same anyway, the same depth anyway, and these properties can be merged. And I guess the last reason is to be kind. This property is not the nice looking property in the world. With my application, I handed up a bunch of photographs taken of the property, and we will of course clean that all up and part of the Berkey corporate process, and it will all hopefully look a lot nicer. But we don't want to take the chance of trying to argue non-conforming use or something like that when we're going to borrow a great deal of money to.
Thanks, Jim. I'll mark that as A1 for the record. Is there any questions for Mr. Garrity from the board at this time? Seeing none, any questions from the public for Mr. Garrity at this time? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing, proceed back into the public meeting, and this is on our agenda for action later on in the meeting. Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, and thank you. I know we've had, this has been in front of us, generally before and then tonight, so we appreciate your coming back and giving the presentation. John, that is, the ordinance is action item number 1, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, I just wanted to double check and make sure that it was consistent. All right, is there anything else we need to know or to do with regard to the public hearing, Mr. Solicitor?
Nothing further.
All right, so we have a Hatfield walkability study presentation. Anton Kuhner, who is with McMahon and Associates, was going to make that presentation. Unfortunately, he was called away due to a family matter, and I think that he is going to hand the ball off to our township manager. Aaron, if you would give us.
Sure, thanks, Mr. President. And as President Zipfel said, Anton had some urgent matters to attend to, so I drew the short straw, apparently. But we do have a quick slide, but I'm going to informally present this so that everyone understands the process and what it is that we undertook and why. Rewind about 6 months, and the board will remember that we applied for funding from a grant through the Department of Health and from the University of Pittsburgh, and received $10,000 to perform a walkability study in Hatfield Township. The intent of the study is, let's make our community more walkable, let's make our community healthier, let's make connections to public amenities such as our parks, such as the Township building, the Aquatic Center. We have all these great public amenities. We want to make sure people can get there. And now, so more than ever, people are interested in walking and biking and running and having an active lifestyle. And we believe that this plan will help reach a lot of those goals of our community. So the process, we had a committee, and we have several members from the committee that are here tonight. Tina and Scott and Commissioner Bob Rogers, who was part of this committee. So we had 3 separate meetings. We also reached out to the public. We reached out to stakeholders. We reached out to the school district. We reached out to folks from some of our biggest employers and other organizations such as places of worship and other organizations that see a lot of, whether it's their parishioner or employees, walking to get to their facility. So we reached out to all of them individually and interviewed them and asked where we could improve the walkability in Hatfield Township. And this study summarizes all those interactions, as well as reaching out to the public on the website, on Facebook, other social media avenues to get feedback from as many residents as we could. So in the end, we had a good deal of input given by the residents, by these organizations, and we were able to put together a plan, which tonight I know the board has been involved. They've been getting updates as we go along, so there will be no surprises tonight. The plan must be formally adopted by the commissioners in order to fill some of the grant requirements. One list I just want to run through, I think it would be valuable to talk about, are some of the priorities that were identified throughout the process. And what McMahon did was prioritized the connections as well as attached dollar, not necessarily specific dollar amount, but on a scale of 1 to 3, whether how expensive implementation of these locations would be. And I'm going to show you a different appendix, which I think is valuable. So all the feedback from the public, from the elected officials, from the business owners, from the committee, what was identified was roughly 15 to 20 connections that can make Hatfield a more walkable community. Among those, and one pretty obvious one, Sterling Drive. We've been talking about the Fricks Trail now for 5 years. It is open to the public right now. It's not completely done. We're going to have a bigger event once we have some of the signage completed and some of the paving completed. We'll have a public event where we invite a lot of people out and unveil it. But we have what I consider a soft opening right now. And when you come out on Sterling, it's pretty easy to see that immediately you see the trail goes away, and we have people going back into School Road Park, which then does connect to North Penn Road, but there is a nice segment there that we would like to have sidewalks right at the corner. So that's one just example that was given a priority one, low cost, one that should be easy to implement, that we're going to chip away, and the commissioners are going to have a public meeting in a few weeks when we talk about our goals for 2020. And you'll see, and the public will see, how we're going to incorporate some of these ideas into our budget and our goals for next year. So this report, commissioners, will be posted on our website for the residents to see. We'll promote it. Our goal is to not let it collect dust, not let it just sit on a shelf. We want it to be a breathing and a real document that we refer to regularly and chip away at, and hopefully, some small, some major connections can really improve the quality of life here in Hatfield. So McMahon did a great job. We appreciate and thank all the committee members that took their time to come to these meetings over the past year to identify ways that we can make our community better. And in the end, we think we have a good product, and we think that we can use this then to have real change and real projects in the near future. So commissioners, if you consider making a motion to approve this plan so we can then fulfill our requirements from the grant, which we will then be reimbursed 100% for the costs that went into creating this study this evening. And then, again, we're going to talk about this throughout the next few weeks as we budget, throughout the next few years, just like we do our other plans. We're going to refer to it regularly and hopefully start accomplishing some of these recommendations.
Would you like us to entertain that now?
Please.
All right, so action item number 2 on our agenda is the Hatfield Township Walkability Study. Is there a motion to approve and adopt the plan as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Rogers.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Thomas. Any questions or comments? I'd like to note that some of our members of the Walkability Study and those who have been very involved, former Commissioner Brown is with us tonight. I'm hopeful that everyone here is as excited about the Walkability Study as we are. And so with that, unless there's any other questions or comments, I will call the question. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Thank you for everyone who was involved over all of the years. And now the real work begins, right? So, okay, so those are our special items. We can move into our action items. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes, sir.
All right, we have and that first is that zoning change, ordinance number 688. Is there a motion for approval with regard to ordinance number 688 regarding the Bergey's Realty 3190 Treewigtown Road zone change from light industrial to commercial?
So moved.
Motion by Vice President Hughes, second by Commissioner Thomas. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, then I'll call the question. All in favor of ordinance number 688, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Thank you for everyone who came out, your presentation tonight, and all the information you've provided previously. Thank you. All right, third action item is Resolution 19-21. Is there a motion for approval with regard to the Cowpath and Durstein traffic signal permit application? Motion by Vice President Hughes, second by Commissioner Andrus. Aaron, do you want to take this one?
Sure, I'll give a quick summary. We discussed this at length a few weeks ago. This is a permit to PennDOT it's the first step before the traffic signal can be installed there at Durstein and Cowpath. We'll also tie in, you'll see, next item as well is modifying the timing for Berge and Cowpath, which is right here. So these two intersections and these two traffic signals will communicate with each other, will give us the ability to hopefully have those synchronized and make sure the traffic moves efficiently through that corridor, given the two signals in a close space there. This signal, once permitted, the time frame for installation will be determined as the property to the west is going through the land development, which is still in the Planning Commission hands, and once it gets to the board, those timeframes will be ironed out. It's important to note that the installation and the purchase of this traffic signal will cost the taxpayers zero because of the land development that is occurring adjacent to this intersection. And like we said before, we met with Commissioner Hughes, Vice President Hughes met with the property owners before this is being submitted to PennDOT, and a lot of the feedback from those property owners was a lot of observations about how unsafe that intersection has been, a lot of near misses, a lot of accidents as well, and the commissioners are going to be able to make a safer intersection.
All right. Any questions, any further questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of Resolution 19-21, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Action item number 4, Resolution 19-23. Is there a motion for approval of the Cowpath and Berge traffic signal modification permit application?
So moved.
Motion by Vice President Hughes.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rogers. Aaron, I think you have this one as well.
Yeah, sure. Commissioner Andrews did a great job 2 weeks ago summarizing what this is. And
Jumping ahead here. We're doing Cowpath and Berge.
Cowpath.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Cowpath and Berge.
Same as the one before. Sorry, Mr. President. I was so excited about our pension obligations that I was just ready to summarize this.
All right, so we can hold off on the slide, is what you're saying, right?
Again,
All right, so the second part of it is literally the second part of the resolution. So if there's any questions or comments, any further questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of Resolution 19-23, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Now, if you can just wait. Just hold on one moment while I tee it up for you. Resolution 19-22, is there a motion for approval with regard to the pension obligations in the year 2020?
Right.
Sorry.
So the
Motion by
signal at-
Commissioner Andrus, I think it was second by Commissioner Rogers.
Can't wait to get it
Wait. Now go right ahead.
So the traffic signal at Berge and Cowpath. Commissioner Andrews did a great job 2 weeks ago talking about our pension obligations and the requirements for a municipality. Every year you must approve the minimum municipal obligation, not something that rolls off the tongue. Represents roughly 7% of the township's budget, so it's important that we talk about it. But Commissioner Andrus, again, did a great job of outlining that, yes, it's a large liability from a cost standpoint, but just like earlier tonight, it's another investment into our employees. And it's part of the package that is needed to recruit and retain police officers and other employees in the township. Commissioners did a good job of containing these costs, but a lot of this is driven just by the performance of the market. So we go as the market goes, and us and every other town throughout the Commonwealth and the country. But this is just formalizing the obligation for 2020.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All right, with that, I'll call the question. All in favor of Resolution 19-22, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Citizens' comments. And you jumped out of the chair. What did I do?
There you go. Where's your pastel?
Yeah, right. Dean Minninger, Hatfield Fire Company President. I left a little information on our training. We had 4 members go out to Indiana for training in the beginning of September. Our plan is to send 4 more out next year. Our interior guys and 2 of our officers. So if you have a chance, read it. It's good information. But this is where we're going. Hatfield's going with training. And we are still moving forward with the training facility on our second station. So,
Right?
We feel training in our end is very important. So you get a chance to read it. It tells you what they did, how intense it was. So Thank you.
No, thank you for telling us that. We are mindful, for those of you who are unfamiliar with how busy volunteers are for our fire departments, many, many years ago, the training requirements were significantly less. And now, just to be able to be a regular volunteer and to be fully engaged, there's, I forget how many, is it 60 hours of training? Oh, I was off. 210 hours of training that is expected. And that's just to complete firefighting 1 is what I'm being told. So it's an enormous amount of time just to train in order to then be a volunteer for us, for the benefit of the rest of us. So thank you for not only all of that, but also the added extra effort of sending your folks out to a high caliber location for additional training. Thank you. Okay, any other citizens' comments? Comments from the dais? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn this evening.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Thomas.
Second.
Second by Vice President Hughes. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thanks for coming out, folks.